Las Vegas, Nevada, and we are going to be talking about Bitcoin and what is the Bitcoin blockchain. So, welcome to everybody on Haps and on YouTube and Facebook, any other platforms. Wow, I need to close a couple things. Hope everybody's having a great week. My typical shows are on a Monday night, but we are doing it on a Wednesday tonight. So I'm happy to have you all here. We're going to be talking about the Bitcoin blockchain tonight. So I just had a clubhouse room and had a couple people in there, had a really great discussion. So as I typically do, I come over to haps.tv and recap what we discussed. And if you have any questions, you can comment either at haps.tv or YouTube or Facebook, and I will personally respond to any comments or questions. And I can also put up my email, which I usually do. You can pause the video right now and copy down my email, and you can always shoot me an email as well. I personally respond to all emails. So I'm going to be making notes as we go. So we're going to go ahead and dive into what is a blockchain. So I'm going to be talking tonight about the Bitcoin blockchain. It was the first blockchain that ever existed. It started in 2009, and that's the first blockchain I learned about. So it's the most straightforward one that I can explain. So the Bitcoin blockchain started on January 3rd, 2009. And it started with the Genesis block, or block 0. So that's when it started. And you can look at, sorry, the Bitcoin blockchain is a public blockchain. So what that means is all the data on that blockchain is out in the public and anyone can take a look at it. So the easiest way is to go to blockchain.com. That's the site that I use the most. So since we are streaming, I'm going to go ahead and go to that website, blockchain.com, and I think the graphics are blocking this a little bit, so I apologize for that. But at the top, you will see the word Explorer. So you click on the Explorer, and it may even ask you which blockchain do you want to explore. And I'm going to be exploring the Bitcoin blockchain. So on this page, you will be able to search and look at every transaction and every block. So what is a blockchain? A blockchain is just a digital ledger that tracks every transaction in the whole system. So transactions are batched into groups of transactions called blocks. So on this page, there's a section that says latest blocks, and this will tell you what the ID is of the very latest block. So this one, 696462, it was mined 15 minutes ago by an unknown miner, And I'm not going to get into what mining is this time. So we have to pause that thought until I think it'll be in 2 or 3 more meetings from now. We're going to discuss what mining is. So for now, we're just going to go over what the blockchain is. So we're going to look at these blocks and the transactions inside of them. So another good site. So here is another good site, and let me put this up on our notepad here. So if you go to andersbrownworth.com/blockchain, you will get to the same site that I'm at right now. So pause the video, write that down. It will take you out to this site. So this guy built a blockchain demo, which I was trying to click on it, but the easiest way to do it is to just put //blockchain. And actually, there is also a YouTube video where he explains how the blockchain demo works. So, along the top, you will see hash, block, blockchain, distributed tokens, and Coinbase. So what that is it's a progression starting with what a hash is all the way up to Coinbase. So you can use this site to explain the different properties about a blockchain. So if I just type hello into the data box, the data field here, you will see it creates a hash at the bottom. It creates that hash because it takes the plain data and sends it through what's called a hashing algorithm. So I will save that hash on our notepad. So can you see that? Yeah, right there. 2CF, blah, blah, blah. It's this long series of characters. I thought it was 30, but it's definitely more than 30. But if I come up here and I just change one character, it changes the entire hash. If I compare these two lines look completely different. So why is this important? Well, the data within a block needs to always stay the same. It should never be able to be changed. That's why a blockchain is so important. The Bitcoin blockchain started in 2009, but there were a lot of other current digital currencies before that, and they would always fail for a variety of problems. Anything digital is really easy to copy. So why don't people just go out and make a copy of a Bitcoin? Because every Bitcoin transaction has to go through the blockchain in order to be a valid transaction. So if you spent 1 Bitcoin and sent it one place, and then you tried to send the exact same Bitcoin back to yourself and make a copy of it, it wouldn't allow you to do that because it would see in the blockchain that that was already spent. And that problem is called the double spend problem. So it was the first of many problems that the Bitcoin blockchain solved. So the first thing to know about a blockchain is that all the data in the blockchain is hashed. So it's what they call a fingerprint. So for the word hello, it creates this hash. And as you can see, if I place it next to the one before, It's the exact same hash every time you hash the same data. So if we go to the block tab and we put hello in here, there's a hash. Now, the nonce is a little hard to explain, but the nonce is a unique number, and I can't even get into explaining the nonce right now, but it's a unique number, and we can come back to it in just a little bit. But if we click on mine, it's going to go through the process of mining this block, is what they call it. And the whole block turns green. So what that does is it takes all the data in the block. It has a hash of all the data in the block. And once it's mined, it's keeping that hash for that block and all the data in it. So once it's mined, it's locked in. All the data is locked in. It's added to the blockchain. That data cannot change anymore. And as we go, you'll understand why. So moving on to the blockchain, now we see a series of 5 blocks in our blockchain. And if this is block 0, this is block 1. All right, we're just going to start with block 1 to keep it simple, okay? So if we say transaction 1 has $50, transaction 2 has $100, okay? And let's say that we're going to record all this data in each of these blocks. We would mine the first block, it'll turn green, okay? And then what we're going to do is we'll go to the second one, and we're going to mine the second one. And once you mine it, it turns green, and now it is secured on the blockchain. So if we go, and one thing that's important about a blockchain is you see this hash on block 1. That same hash is put into block 2, and then it's mined. So if we would go and try to change $100 to $150, you can see that this block turns red and this block turns red. We would have to go and mine it again. And this is just doing it on one computer. So there's something called a consensus algorithm that the entire network uses to add blocks to the blockchain. And it means that everyone, all 10,000 nodes in the Bitcoin network, has to all agree on what is happening when blocks are added to the blockchain. So there's multiple layers of security to this, and it's all happening basically automatically because the software that is running, it's always running 24 hours a day. So the process to interrupt the consensus algorithm is a whole nother conversation I'm not even going to get into today. Today, we're just talking about the basics of blockchain and some of the characteristics of it. So it's really important to understand the hash. It's also important to understand that the hash of a previous block is added to the next block in the blockchain, and then that block is mined, so that hash is permanently recorded with that block, and it can never be changed, ever. So the process of ever changing any data it's a much deeper conversation that I can't even get into today. So this is one page. You can come out here and try out this demo. And the next step is distributed, where there's different peers in the network. And I'm not even going to get into that part of it today, maybe in a future video. So for today, we're just stopping with blockchain. And if you can understand what a hash is, which a hash is just a fingerprint, just like your fingerprint identifies who you are as a person, the hash, for example, if there was a hash of a block of data, this is the identity of that data in that block. So, what else about the blockchain? I also run a full node in the Bitcoin network. So the first thing it does when I turn it on is it goes through all the data that I have on my computer, and it makes sure that it matches exactly to all the data in the entire Bitcoin network. So what that means is, if I can make a really quick diagram, is that let's say each of these blocks was a node in the Bitcoin blockchain. So the first thing that a node will do is a node will reach out on the internet and it will start to connect between all the different nodes that are out there. And that's not the best drawing, but each one will get a identifier. I put them not in order, but you understand. So we have node 1. Node 1 connects to node 2. So if this was the Bitcoin network and each box is a node, then each node has a copy of the Bitcoin blockchain. So in my drawing, the blue box is a copy of the entire Bitcoin blockchain. So in order to have the entire blockchain, it's about 400 gigabytes right now, which is a lot. And your node has to keep a copy of the entire blockchain. And as more transactions are added to the network, they are added to each copy of the Bitcoin blockchain on each computer. So that is just the current state of the Bitcoin blockchain. The process of adding the transaction data to each node's copy of the blockchain is a process that the miners do that I can't even get into today because it would take too much time. And we're going to be wrapping up very shortly, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about what the Bitcoin blockchain is and some of the properties about it. So, this is a really good website for demoing what happens with a blockchain, what it means to hash data, and why transactions in Bitcoin cannot be deleted or changed. So I am planning to wrap up with um, today's topic about the Bitcoin blockchain. My email is brock@vegasbitcoingroup.com. You are welcome to send me an email if you have any questions. I hope that this helped explain it a little bit. I hope I didn't make it too confusing, but I want to go ahead and wrap up today's video. But thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys at the